Purchase of automobiles. Hey, sales and purchase of automobiles takes place all the time. But what happens when something goes wrong with that car? Who do you have a right to sue? Well, that brings us to this week's case. Involves real people in California. They purchased a mobile home. And they purchased the home from the dealership, and then the dealer proceeded to assign the contract, i.e. the promise to make payment, to Wells Fargo. Commonly done situation. So the folks are paying Wells Fargo under their contract for their installment payments on this motorhome. Well, they're not pleased with the motorhome. They claim that it's defective. They take it back to the dealership. Dealership works on it, gives it back to them. They say it wasn't repaired properly. Take it back again. Still not repaired properly. Finally, they said enough is enough, and we're going to sue you. We're going to sue you for the problems we're having with this vehicle. But they didn't sue the dealership. They sued Wells Fargo. They said, look, we're making our payments to Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo bought this contract to make payments from the dealership. We think Wells Fargo should be responsible. Well, Wells Fargo said, we don't think we're responsible, not for the problems with the vehicle. We might be responsible if there were some issues with regard to the way the loan was made, but we're not responsible for problems with the vehicle. Well, this case went forward, and it went up on appeal to the 3rd District Court of Appeals in the state of California. And there, the court looked at it and they said, well, you know, this is a financial instrument. And it was sold by the dealership to Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo paid for it, and now they're getting the payments from the folks that are making the installment payments. People were making their installment payments. They did so regularly and on time. And under federal law, Wells Fargo became what's referred to as a holder in due course, meaning that they purchased this, and in the due course of the transaction, they are a holder of that instrument, and they have obligations under that instrument. And the court came away saying, Wells Fargo has the responsibility for the defects in that vehicle, and yes, the plaintiffs were right suing Wells Fargo. Now, the court pointed out a couple of things. They said, we recognize that there are some differences across the country on this, and that some courts don't agree that the holder in due course, the guys you're making payment to, are responsible for defects in the vehicle. But here in California we find that to be the case, and in some other states that's the case. But one thing also that's important is that the people who are bringing suit can only recover an amount of money equal to what they have paid thus far in the purchase of the vehicle. So if they've only paid $5,000 towards the purchase of a $40,000 or $50,000 or $70,000 motorhome, well, then they can only recover $5,000. If they've paid $7,500 to $10,000, they can recover up to that amount. But they can't recover any more. That's the maximum amount. Okay, we bring you this case so you understand what's going on. And I think this is probably something you may not have been aware of, that when you run into problems with a vehicle, and that has been a financed purchase, and you're paying payments to someone now other than the dealership, that someone else, whether it's Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citibank, or somebody else, may in fact be responsible for the problems you're having on that vehicle. Okay, we bring you this case, as we bring you cases every week, so you understand how the law works. I'm David Allen.